Okay, so during our break, we kind of discussed where we were at with everything, and we left off with the material and supply cuts, how much of those equate to in layoffs reduced. We have figured that if materials and supplies were able to be cut by 50%, we could probably reduce the number of layoffs by about 9 people, or 9 teacher salaries. So taking that number from 30 down to 21 layoffs.
And I mean, maybe you didn't catch what I said before, but I mean, you just keep talking about it as layoffs, but there's possibilities to still make this a cost savings and reposition these people.
Can you share to us some of those possibilities?
Well, I mean, you guys have better visibility on what these vacancies look like, but there's vacancies in administration, vacancies in any other positions, or
We aren't aware of
early
any other,
retirements for anyone, early retirement incentives.
we aren't aware of any other open positions at this moment.
What about 30 that left last year?
That's already been accounted for.
What do you mean by that?
Within our budget issues, those 30 have already been accounted for, so it's,
What about their positions though?
We cannot fill those though. That's adding more
So you're
members to the
suggesting
staff.
we dropped 51 people out of our 400 people staff. Just drop out of the air and expect us to operate normally,
We already had 30 people retire.
that you're not filling positions for.
So it's already 30 salaries you're not paying next year.
We're looking at dropping 20 more, that's
51 people that you were saying.
I see where you're coming from. The layoffs is an easy solution, but the repercussions of it is way too much to even really be considering it as an option.
so then can I ask, what are some possible alternatives to layoffs that you guys have for us?
Well, there's the issue of we haven't been paid in 2 months. You can look at helping you guys out on that. To save jobs.
So how would you propose to do that? How would you manage to help us out?
Take cuts on the money you owe us.
You're willing to take cuts in your own salary?
Not in
Not in our salary
Salary.
total. We haven't been paid in the last 2 months because the
And we
contract,
expect payback for those 2 months.
Back pay.
the contract was over.
Ends in July.
It ended in July, September. We haven't been getting any money, and
Right.
you were talking about cutting 21 people now as soon as possible. So those people haven't been getting any salary, any income for 2 months. Now in 4 weeks' time, they're going to be without money again, living off savings. These are people's lives. They might have kids, houses, mortgages. How are they going to pay for it off their own savings?
With very, very little insight, you're going to lose your job. I mean, the school year started today.
They have no opportunity. They have very little
Can I just
opportunity to keep.
ask, was that given in your guys' material? That you haven't gotten paid in 2 months?
That's
should be
yeah.
given both.
It was retroactivity.
I just understood it differently. I thought you guys were still getting paid, but
Our understanding of the retroactivity is that you were still getting paid based on the last contract salary terms.
yeah.
And the retroactivity would be for if there was any agreements and increases in salaries, whether you get paid the full amount between those two or a percentage of the two. Not that you're not getting paid.
That might be misunderstanding on my part.
Okay. Because that's what we.
Sorry. Wow. Sorry.
I think someone would have raised that issue a lot later if they were getting paid for 2 months.
Okay,
Retract that.
so we'll assume the past 2 months we've been getting paid on our past salary. Sorry about that. Should we talk about salary since we're on that topic?
Might as well.
So before you mentioned a 1% salary increase, that's not going to do it. for us, especially if you want us to work extra hours every day. Because then you're basically reducing our hourly wage, general our salary, but just raising our wage, or raising the number of hours we work. That tremendously affects the hourly wage that we would be making throughout the year.
Not only are we not, I mean, a teacher's job isn't just in the school. We do grading outside of school. We're going to be spending, it's not, we're only spending 7 hours and 5:45, 5 minutes, whatever it was. Yeah, we're there for that time, but I go home and I spend hours grading papers. I spend time prepping lessons when I'm at home. It's not this 7-hour period that I'm at school. That's my job.
Every
And
job you take a little bit of work home with you.
well, yeah. I'm just saying you want me to stay at work longer and
For 300
As far as prepping go, you have an entire summer session to build lesson plans.
Right, but there's prepping in between class periods. But if you don't prep every single class completely from a 3-month time period for a 9-month time period.
I just don't see the 1% increase in salary if you want me to spend more time at school doing productive work that I could be doing that productive hour at home with my kids.
The current schedule you have right now was offered as an incentive in the past because we had a more lax budget. We no longer have that budget, and we're going to.
What is increasing our hours to 8 hours a day? How's that going to help the budget at all?
You guys already mentioned we're losing teachers, and how are you going to fill that void? Unfortunately, we have to have people work to do that for us.
Do you want kids to stay longer?
If the kids are going to stay in school the same amount of time, they're going to go to the same amount of classes. They're not going to have to add a class every day. So I don't see what that extra
Unless
hour is
you're
gonna be for.
wanting to add that extra hour, and then that's going to cut into your utilities that you talked about were already increased. So
Because
if you want the school to be open for that extra hour, if you want teachers to be there for that extra hour, so another hour that 370 minus 21 people plus students are going to be there using the electricity, increasing utility rates.
and the students don't have to be there with an extra hour. They're required to have their 190 days of 7 hours a day. So what is that extra hour for?
I believe right now with the prep time built in and the duty-free time and the lunch, you're actually not working 7 hours and 5 minutes teaching fully. It would only be equivalent to about 6.5. So we'd like to see every teacher teaching 7 class periods in a day.
So
and
no
an
prep time.
additional 8, what's the additional hour for like the 8th hour? That's when your lunch and prep time is built in.
So if we extend our school day an extra hour, the kids don't have to be there that extra hour. So why don't we just call it a prep time and go home?
It'd be in the middle of the day when the students are at lunch as well.
So what
So the
classes
students
do
are going to
we
be
teach?
there an extra hour every day.
You can't make them come an extra hour a day. That's not how that works.
Yeah,
If we have an extra hour in the middle of the day,
It's an extra hour of students just.
then the students have to stay an extra hour, but we can't make them. So now we're teaching classes and we don't have students in for an hour at the end of each day.
I believe we're looking at taking this time and applying it split up to both the beginning and the end of the day. So you have a little time in the morning to prepare for students coming in at the end of the day, clean up and call it a day. We're not in the middle of the day, not making.
So you're
We're not
not
looking at having the students stay longer.
Well, we can't. So we're definitely not looking at that. But how?
So you just want us to be there an extra half hour before the students are, an extra half hour before or after they go home?
That would be your prep time.
And we'd also like to have you guys help out with duties around the school, for example, like,
So I know we
helping
do it
out
if we're teaching
chef.
the whole time. We're cleaning up, we're prepping for them to get there, teaching for 7 hours, cleaning up. When are we going to have time to help out?
It'll be your assigned duties. We can have teachers some days help unload the buses or whatnot, or get the kids to the classroom.
It'd be rotational, so no teacher would have to do it every single day.
So the teacher that has to unload the bus then wouldn't get to prep for that class today? When would they be able to prep if they're...
So are you saying that 8 hours would be rotational?
I guess
So-
I'm just confused.
So this week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm here an extra half hour in the morning and night. and then next week, Tuesday, Thursdays, I'm here.
No, but I think you can agree some lesson plans don't require a ton of prep time or any prep time
That's fine.
if it's a 2-day unit or something.
That's fine, I take care of my own
Probably
prep
gonna
time.
require a little bit more prep time when you just increase our ratio from 32 to 35. Probably gonna include a little bit
Well,
more prep time.
you just mentioned something about rotational.
I don't see why your prep time would have to increase, your lesson plan is gonna be the same with 3 extra students.
Grading paper prep time is grading extra students.
How long do you think it would take you to grade an extra 3 papers?
I'm not talking, that's an average, it's a ratio. I'm not talking about 3 students, that's an average, it could be 8 more students.
And you'll make it up on the other end of the average where you have lesser students.
Can I ask what you meant by rotational? If it's not Monday, Wednesday, Friday, then Tuesday, Thursday, what did you mean?
Just that not every teacher would be required to do those additional duties every single day.
So out of teachers A, B, and C, Monday and Tuesday, you could say A teachers would help monitor the buses getting on the road.
So the other ones can come in a half hour later.
They would still use that time as their prep time,
We already have 15-minute prep time during the day.
but instead of that in the middle of the day, it would be moved to the beginning and end of the day.
So if we take away that 50 minutes, are we adding classes?
No.
So what's that 50 minutes in the middle of my day gonna be?
It would be your lunch as well as,
We already have a lunch and duty free time. So you'd like to extend that by an hour?
The way I see it, we might have to have you guys teach for that 50 minutes. We are losing teachers, we're having classrooms now open now, we might have to have a teacher
Don't cut
teach
any
an
more
extra class
teachers.
day. As far as we see it, that's our only option. Unless you can give us a better option, we don't know.
Especially if we're talking about raising salaries. If you raise salaries.
Well, let's talk about that. What do you mentioned 1%. If we worked that extra hour a day, I would have to see about a $5,200 raise per teacher.
For it to make sense, it was a 13.5% raise.
To work that extra hour every day.
that's what the percent equivalent is.
Just having that extra increase of 13.5% in wages is gonna equate to close to $2 million increase in total salaries, which already, seeing as we're,
That would make it a $3.3 million
budget deficit.
I'd like to bring it back to our perspective. You want us to work an extra hour, you want us to work with more students, you want us to work with less colleagues in areas we may not be familiar with.
We're not
You
gonna
want
do
us
that
to
for
do all
1%.
that for 1%, a $380 a year raise.
That's nothing.
Times are tough, but they're not that tough. There's gotta be other solutions.
So,
So you guys are relying on us to find other solutions.
Good job.
We found one, and that would be having to cut teachers.
But we're not gonna agree to that. If it comes to cutting teachers, extending our hours, keeping us at the same wage, it's gonna come to strike.
I mean, that's really not giving us anything. What are you giving? You're taking so much away from us, making us do more, and you're not giving us. You're giving us 1%. That's pennies.
You've gotta see this from our perspective too, we're not gaining anything from you guys at this point either.
We already offered the agreement 50% less materials. I think that's fairly significant. We'd like to move further, but all we hear is that you're cutting 30 positions.
300,000 is
We
significant
said it
to
was
a
$1.2 million.
it's
Or
not.
reducing it to
If you were to take and cut 50% of material and supplies spent from last year, you have based just on that number, is down to 700,000.
which if your cost is 2 million, that's a $1.3 million save to your budget.
If we take that 700,000, which is half of what you spent last year, take it to our 46% raise in prices that we're getting this year, it equates to $1 million.
Okay, that's 1 million versus 2 million. That just saved you $1 million.
So we're only $1 million away on budget deficit right now?
Your current deficit, you're down 1.4, whatever it is.
Total.
And you said the savings were of,
$1
was,
million.
We saved you 1.4 in materials.
we didn't say 1.4, it was 1 million.
Oh,
50% of 2.
no, it's 50% of 1.4 million, which is 700,000. The budget said 2 million, which is 1.3 million dollars.
So last year was 1.7. This year's 2.
Yeah, and we're cutting it.
Materials are going up about 46%.
So we're saving
You're telling me
more than,
material price, no, but material prices. We're gonna use the same amount of materials as last year. Divide that by 2, that's a $700,000 spend. Right now your budget says 2 million, so that's a $1.3
So we
million
wanna go 50% less than,
from last year.
but the 46% increase is based on market price.
So if we use the same amount of material as we did last year, prices would go up $600,000?
Correct.
No.
That,
No.
so it's the numbers that we have.
That's how much the cost went up. It doesn't say how much material was used. It does, that could be materials going up. We're agreeing to use less.
Cost of materials and supplies will be up 40% over last year's cost budget.
But that's total. That's with how much we used multiplied by the rate
If we agree to reduce it 50%,
from what we did last year.
well, even off of what we,
A price of an eraser isn't going up 40%. It's the total cost that we used is going up 40% according to your budget. So if we agree to use half the materials we used last year, if the price only goes up 1%, that means our cost is only going to be about $750,000. Does anybody understand what we're saying?
Can we use the other number? Figure it. Last year's instead of the current. Oh,
2 year reduction alone on this year's budget.
That's just a subtraction. So should we just agree on a $1 million save on materials? Make it easy.
Does that make sense?
no.
You want to do a bigger savings? If we agree to reduce by 50%, that's a minimum of $1 million.
50% of our current spend.
Just a second ago, you were saying last year's spend, so that's what we're looking at. So,
We were, but let's make it easier. We're looking at this year's spend.
I think what he's looking at is the half of last year's spend compared to that.
That's what I was trying to say, but if you want to make it easy on yourselves, we'll just go with $1 million.
That's the number. That's what we have.
so what are we saying? If they were to cut by 50%, what is 3.2? more than 2 million.
How do you not get a million? 50% of 2 million is a million. That's as easy as we can get right now.
If our budgeted spend for next year,
That's 2 million.
This current year's 2 million, and we cut that in half, that's $1 million savings right there,
So right now we're agreeing to only use $1 million worth of materials.
which is a significant concession on our behalf.
Especially because it's being thrown to us now, on the first day.
We have to redo lesson plans, we have to restructure courses.
So I see what you're taking, I think I followed your calculations there. You're looking at taking 50% off the previous year, still increasing that by the percent increase and subtracting that from our projected amount.
We're trying to make it easy and just say $1 million right now.
So it would be half of the projected right
It
now.
would be more than that.
It would be like,
Okay, so the number I came to is just over 1 million.
Say
1,026,000. Yeah, 26,000.
in savings. That's what we're agreeing upon.
Yes.
So we'll use,
If we can cut materials and supplies down
and
by 50%.
Okay.
We come out
Sounds
average.
good.
Yeah, right.
How's that only 9 teachers though?
That's not 9 teachers, that was when,
Based on earlier numbers.
based on their
Based on
earlier
earlier numbers.
projection, I believe.
Cause that's almost your,
I'd love
9
to be on
people
that
was
page.
equivalent to about
$100,000 a year
325,000.
for teaching high
that's
school.
So that
300,000 away
becomes
from your deficit.
27
right?
teachers.
So after revising that, we need to see how many teachers we can keep, or should we?
Sure. Sorry.